Hello, I'm Philip Duncan. Thank you very much for joining us. We're tracking wind and rain around northern New Zealand and warmer than average weather as well. Now we'll start with the windy weather. So as we've said for a couple of days, we've got this massive high out to the east here that's moving slowly away from us. It's also expanding. So as it gets bigger, it puts more pressure on the western side of it, and that's where we've got this squash zone of northeasterly winds. Now at the same time we've got that squash zone, we've got two areas of low pressure that have formed on the back end of it. That's the reason why Auckland got a burst of windier weather on Wednesday morning. It should ease as we go through the rest of the day, and that windy weather will surge on across other parts of the North Island through Wednesday afternoon, especially around East Cape, where you're closer to the squash zone and that low. Now we've got some good news for Auckland. As Weather Watch exclusively forecast last month, rain is falling in our largest city. NIWA and Met Service, the two government-funded forecasters, were much more doom and gloom. We've been saying, thanks to IBM, that rain is on the way. Whether or not it's enough to completely reverse the year-long, in fact 18-month-long rainfall deficit, that's another question. But for getting the water storage dams filled up with more rainwater, that's certainly happening at the moment. But we do still have to conserve water. We're not out of the woods yet, but certainly some good news coming into our largest city despite all the other stuff that's going on with COVID-19. So let's move on to the forecast. This is how we look for Thursday. And we'll start in Auckland, where in other parts of the North Island, Waikato, Northland, Bay of Plenty, you've all got these northwesterly winds and showers coming right down to about Taranaki, and then later on they'll probably come in around the Kapiti coast. The eastern side is mostly dry. You might get a shower or two later on, otherwise dry, and certainly warmer than average. We're expecting highs up around 20 degrees in Hawke's Bay and surrounding regions thanks to that northwesterly flow. Now the South Island's got lighter winds, so it'll be a colder start for you and not quite as mild, but you should still be leaning warmer than average. Most of the wet weather on Thursday will be along the western coastline of both islands and also up around Northland and Auckland. Okay, let's move through to Friday. Now we've got a big pool of low pressure on Friday. That keeps the South Island with mostly light winds. So another cool sort of start for you, but again, most of the temperatures are leaning warmer than average this week around New Zealand. In the North Island, the winds turn from northwesterlies to more of a westerly flow. That brings in plenty of showers on the west coast, mostly dry along the east coast. Let's get into the weekend. Saturday, light winds again around the South Island. In the north, the winds are also fairly light. You'll notice that they'll be coming out of the northwest again, though, later on in the day, and they will start to pick up as this low forms in the Tasman, or sort of sorts itself out a bit better. Take a look at Sunday's map. Far more organised low pressure system. It's got sort of better shape to it. That will drive in north to northwest winds to the upper North Island and more wet weather coming back to Auckland, so that's good news. The other bit of good news is the rain clouds will turn around as a northeasterly for the South Island. Not overly warm, but the rain will be welcome because it's starting to dry out in Canterbury, Otago and even Southland. The downside is this may not be a huge amount of moisture, but you will get a little bit of it coming through for you on Sunday. And our final map for Monday shows that low being split apart again and the energy being spread further afield. So it becomes disorganised, and that makes it harder for us as forecasters to be sort of more accurate. But the low pressure systems out to the east and the west means the North Island in particular has got wet weather coming around it for both sides, again including Auckland, more showers for you. Mostly dry around Gisborne and Hawke's Bay at this stage. It might change a little bit. And the wet weather in the South Island goes further up to the upper side. That's a little bit of a negative. We'd prefer to see it in the lower half of the island, but still you will get a few showers coming in down into those dry parts of South Canterbury. And before I go, there is one feature coming in next week. There's another high growing out here over Australia. So we're going to get these southwest winds returning next week, which will be a little bit cooler than what we've just had. That's all from me. We'll see you again tomorrow, Thursday, with the latest.